Matt Gaetz admitted that he wants to raise the retirement age for Social Security. We keep being told by Republicans that it is so dishonest for Biden to say, or anyone to say, that Republicans are coming for Medicare and Social Security, but then time and time again, they admit that's just exactly what they're doing. So here's this from Matt Gaetz' appearance on the War Room podcast with Steve Bannon, and then we'll discuss how we actually should solve the funding issue with Medicare and Social Security.
Jody Arrington is on top of things. He is very competent, and he laid out a budget menu to the members. And frankly, I thought that it was going to be milquetoast, and it was bold and it was effective at meeting the challenges that we have to meet. And it did not slash the defense budget, which is something that I would not support. I don't want to fund the defense budget of Ukraine and other countries, but I do believe that we ought to have the most technically capable military in the world, and we ought to have a qualitative edge over any potential adversary now and in the future. And so the Arrington budget would, I think, have pleased the Hawks.
Without touching Social Security and Medicare?
I believe that we have to have a discussion about raising the age of Social Security. I think that is not a likelihood with Joe Biden in the White House and a Democrat Senate. But do I believe that forever and always the age of Social Security will be what it is
But did
today?
Arrington's budget get to a balanced budget in 10 years with going just focusing on Medicaid and leaving Medicare and Social Security?
I think that Arrington rightly doesn't look at a 10-year budget window for balance. You know why? I've been here for a bunch of these 10-year budget windows, and you know what they say? They say, oh, well, we're going to do all the spending in the upfront years, and we're going to have the cuts in years 7, 8, 9, 10.
What did Arrington say?
And so Arrington's budget had deep cuts in the early years, and that is all that matters.
Why could people not rally around that? That's what everybody's talked about.
Well,
deep cuts. So there's this constant kind of portrayal of the problem with Medicare and Social Security to benefit the idea of privatizing certain parts or cutting the benefits, cutting the spending through cutting benefits and all of that, and the necessity mindset of that happening, right? Going, oh, this has to happen. Sorry, this is just the way that it is. And that's how it's talked about a lot. We're going to be the programs are going to be bankrupt, and then the only option is to cut the benefits. That's kind of the vibe that is put out there, if not explicitly said, often within the context of these conversations. And it's not accurate. As CBS News writes, Social Security is heading for a funding cliff. And let me X this out real quick. There you go. With its trust fund reserves potentially becoming insolvent by 2033, an outcome that would mean beneficiaries would face a 25% shave on their monthly checks. But there is a way to fix most of the funding shortfall, policy experts say: smash the cap. That refers to the Social Security tax cap, a feature of the program since it was launched in the 1930s following the Great Depression. Essentially, any income over the earnings cap isn't subject to the Social Security payroll tax, which is 6.2% for workers and an additional 6.2% for employers. In 2023, the tax cap stands at $160,200, which means any income above that amount is exempt from the payroll tax. As a result, middle and lower income workers bear a much greater tax burden in funding Social Security than the 6% of Americans who earn above the threshold, according to a new analysis from the left-leaning Center for Economic and Policy Research. So right now, the way the system is set up, the tax burden is greater. It more severely impacts middle and lower income workers, earners. And if we smash the cap, as the article said, and allow for the Social Security payroll tax to be applied to earnings above that $160,200 line where it's currently drawn at, then we'll be able to more properly fund Social Security, make sure we're not having to cut benefits, we're not having to raise the retirement age, and that seems like just quite the common sense solution. So why would someone like Matt Gaetz not bringing that up? Why is he bringing up raising the retirement age instead? Even though he pretends to be this populist who's for the average working American when talking about fighting the powerful big tech or whatever it might be, in reality, similar to so many Republicans, he actually is in the line of work of, or in the position of attempting to make the powerful more powerful and make the wealthy more wealthy. And so a way of funding Social Security that includes smashing the cap, applying that Social Security tax to earnings above the amount that it's currently at, because that would slightly inconvenience high income earners, that's not something that many Republicans are getting on board with, unfortunately.